السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا. Welcome guys. My name is Dr. Zaman. Hope you guys are having a wonderful time, enjoying yourselves. Alright, so today is Saturday, as you guys know, and my lip is a bit swollen, as you can see. So that's why my voice sounds a bit funny. I've got a cold sore that's coming out. And so if you guys hear me sounding a bit different today, then that's the reason. Right, so Saturday, and this is the last Saturday before Ramadan, inshallah. So this could be the last live stream that we have at this time. And in Ramadan, usually what I do is I change the timing. So I'll let you know what the timings are going to be. Most likely, it's going to be late afternoon, inshallah. Right, so Darshan Moodley, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan, my brother. MH, wa alaikum assalam. Hope you're well. Boxing MMA, Alhamdulillah, wa alaikum assalam. Very well, thank you very much. Irfan Suhail, wa alaikum assalam. Ahlan wa sahlan, Irfan, hope you're well. Mashrak, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Right, so today I had a course on zakat, and I don't know if any of you guys attended. We had a course on zakat and fasting. So, alhamdulillah, that went well. I was a bit tired at the end of it, but alhamdulillah, it was good. It was about 4-5 hour course delivered, alhamdulillah. Okay, so let's check out some of your questions. NS wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Irfan, in the Quran, Allah says, I would definitely help those who help me. Can you explain how can we help Allah? So the ayah does not mean that Allah is in need of help. So when the Arabs say, in tansurullaha yansurkum, the Quran says this. Yeah, if you help Allah, Allah will help you. So that's what I think you're referring to, that verse. What that basically means is if you help the deen of Allah, if you support the deen of Allah, Allah will definitely help you. Yeah. So it's like, imagine there's a company CEO and he says to you, look, if you help me, I'm going to help you. So it kind of means if you help my company. So here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is referring to the deen of Allah. Any work you do for the deen of Allah, whether it's, like teaching, or whether it's fighting in a battle, or whether it's helping orphans and helping widows, or feeding the poor, or anything at all that is related to the deen, you're considered to be helping Allah. That's what it means. Jundullah wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan. May Allah accept your work. Ameen. Jazakallah khair, Jundullah. May Allah bless you. Ameen. Ameen. Rona Hakim alaikum assalam. Is washing the private parts and back passages before ever wudu permissible? Before ever wudu. Don't understand that. What are some practices that should not be done in Ramadan? Fast. Do you get less sleep in Ramadan? Yes. Wa alaikum assalam. Akhi. Ahlan wa sahlan. Ahlan wa sahlan, my brother Akhi. Hope you're well. Okay, let's check out some Curious Cat questions then. Remember, if anyone wants to ask questions on Curious Cat, then please, you can ask them on there, inshallah. If you can't ask over here, inshallah, you can ask it over there. Okay, so let's check out some questions. Let me just put up the link just for those guys who want to ask questions on Curious Cat. So yeah, okay, so let's check out some of these questions. What kind of questions do we have? Okay, so 6 days ago. Assalamu alaikum. If I put natural oil on my hair like coconut oil, will it nullify my wudu, since the hair can wipe some oil on my face and possibly prevent water? No, so it's fine. Meaning oil is not considered to be a barrier according to Hanafis. So if you have a barrier in your skin, right? If you have a skin and you put oil on your skin, this will not be considered to be a barrier. Yes, it repels water, but it doesn't come under the term barrier. Barrier is when it's like a crust, like a crust, a solid crust that's formed. That would be a barrier. So it wouldn't be considered to be oil is not considered to be a barrier, right? So it would be fine. So salam, no, the wudu will be fine as it's not a barrier, even though it repels water. Okay, next question. Is it permissible to buy a non-fish food for a cat to give it a better quality of diet? So these kind of cat food kind of things, I would say there is scope to buy cat food. I would say there is scope because it's difficult to be able to. It's expensive as well to be able to get like naturally occurring meats and things like that and prepare yourself. So I would say there would be permissibility. Yeah. Yes, there will be scope for that. Okay, next. Assalamu alaikum, Ustad. Are you allowed to tell someone your bad dreams? Salam, yes, you're allowed to, but it wouldn't be the best thing to do. Following on from the cat food, even when, as long as the pork isn't is in very small traces. So as long as the pork is not in there, it's just traces, I would say the cat food would be allowed, but it's only got to be traces. Walaikum salam. Would it be permissible for a male Muslim to join the United States Navy? The job they want to do is technician, who have submarine fixing things like plumbing. They would not be armed with guns. Yes. Yes, it would be permissible for that. Although if you feel uncomfortable in that kind of job, then I would say don't do it. Salam, do we have to recite a surah after Fatiha in the third rakat of Maghrib? No. Salam, no. I may have misread. Okay, this was the questions that were asked in the course. The people who asked. Right. Assalamu alaikum. What reliable websites can I use to calculate my zakat? Alaikum salam. I do not know of any websites that are reliable to calculate zakat besides NZF. But ideally, get a scholar to help you if you're confused, and NZF have a service. Okay. If a woman becomes aware that one of her mahrams looks at her with lust, would she be required to observe the rules of hijab? Yes. Yes. And she should try to not be alone with them. Okay, right. Next. Okay, some questions over here then. MH, how do we ask questions on Curious Cat? It's the link above. Yeah, the link that I put over here. Just saw the link. Thanks, you're welcome. Lighting looks really on point. MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. Unfortunately, can you see my lip over here? It's swollen. So my lip has a cold sore. Right? So I don't know any treatments for cold sore apart from using those kind of creams. So a few weeks ago, I had it over here, which was swollen. And then now I've got it over here. So you can see it's a bit puffed up. Yeah. If you look carefully, you can see it's going to become a crust now. What is I like the addition on the sofa. Oh, you like that lighting on the sofa, yeah? Yeah, I need to get some more backlighting just to kind of enhance the background, inshallah. So my lighting isn't still perfect. It's like 40-50% there. I still need to improve a bit more. But yeah, Jazakallah khair for that comment. What is the reason that the Hanafis require kafara for breaking a fast by all means, including eating, and the Shafi only? So the reason is because basically there's a hadith which the Prophet ﷺ has told a companion who has sexual intercourse in the day to do the kafara. And the kafara is, you got to fast for 2 months, or if you can't do that, you feed 60 poor people. And the Hanafi say, well, just because the Prophet ﷺ has not mentioned about eating and drinking, it still applies to eating and drinking as well, because the three, eating, drinking, and intercourse, they share the same concept, which is breaking fast. So they reach this ruling via a means called manat. It's called manat. It's a long concept, but it's called manat, and basically that's the reason why they necessitate because of that. Yeah, so it's like because the fasting and the drinking and intercourse share the same concept, which they all break fast, and one has come in the hadith, so it's like it applies to all of them. Is going to a non-Muslim's house for dinner that they say the chicken is halal. Do we take their word? If you trust them, then it's possible, but otherwise, no. So make sure they know what halal is. Is celibacy a part of Islam? No. Lighting is perfect today. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. It looks good, isn't it? Shining off my beard and shining off my head. Is washing the private parts back before every wudu permissible? Yes, it's permissible. Does Islam expect women who can give birth to have kids? What amount of alcohol is excusable in vinegar? So in vinegar there is no alcohol, because vinegar is a transformation of alcohol into vinegar. So all vinegars are permissible. Medicines, whatever is allowed to, whatever is needed to treat the patient, basically. Yeah, whatever is needed to treat the patient. So as long as it's going to treat the patient, and that's the amount that's required. How and when do we pray Taraweeh? So I've explained the rules of Taraweeh on my Kuduri videos. So I'm not going to explain how to do Taraweeh here, but in a gist, after Isha, you pray 20 rakats of Nafal prayer. That's what it is. Yeah, so after Isha in Ramadan, you pray 20 rakats of Nafal prayer. So 2 times 10. Yeah, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, like that. Wish to learn a holistic view of usul fiqh beyond am khas, like maqasid al-sharia, and how usul related to Islamic governance. Any books? I would recommend, first of all, don't read it from books, study it from someone. Yeah, definitely study it from someone. So you can get like I don't know if you understand Arabic, but you can get on YouTube. If you type in, you'll get lessons of maqasid by scholars. Scholars will explain maqasid. So for example, like Sheikh Abdullah Juday, he has lessons on maqasid. Many of the Maliki scholars will have something on there anyway. But I think Sheikh Sharif Hatim Oni has something on maqasid as well. Sheikh Ramadan Bhuti has a book on maqasid. Sheikh Tahir ibn Ashur has a book on maqasid. These are probably the most recent ones that are written, and they're quite easy to follow. Inshallah, hope your live gets better. Ameen. Jazakallah khair, brother. Boxing MMA fan, when traveling, can prayers be combined for the first 3 days only in the Hanafi madhab? When traveling, can prayers be combined first 3 days? No, not going to Hanafis. You can't do that. Try to put some warm water to reduce swelling. Oh yeah, warm water. Yeah, I might have to later on put some warm water on. Thanks. Jazakallah khair for that. Ustad, I have been unwell all day. Please keep me in your du'as. May Allah give you shifa. What is it? Is it corona? Have you got COVID? A lot of people are getting COVID at the moment. Why are there many different opinions in which year of incidence of such an important event as Isra Mi'raj? The reason is because no calendar was composed, was made in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So dates, when you weren't able to fix a date, right? So events were measured according to like things that happened. So there was no fixed dates. Dates actually started in the time of Umar radiallahu anhu. So that's the main reason. That is, when you don't have a calendar, how are you going to measure when you were born? So if we didn't have a calendar, how would you explain to me when you were born, what year you were born in? So it's going to be very difficult. You're going to measure it according to, for example, like major events that happened, like World War II, or maybe even like like a famous tsunami occurred, or there was a big earthquake, you'll say, I was born 2 years before this, 5 years after this, etc. Ahmad R. Wa alaikum assalam. A parent passed away without performing Hajj. Should or can the son pay someone else to perform the Hajj on their behalf? They can, but if the parent hasn't told them to do it, it's not obligatory, right? We don't know if it's going to be accepted. Will your 17 Arabic lessons help with speaking Arabic? Not really. It will give you the basic tools to be able to compose sentences, but speaking, no. Speaking requires a conversation with another person. Yeah, but it will help a lot in being able to like write Arabic. Definitely, you'll be able to write Arabic. Assalam Mufti, ahla wa sahlan. During the Jummah khutbah, does the English part count as the khutbah, and is it haram to speak? No, the English part usually doesn't count as the khutbah. Yeah, so it depends where you're going to pray. Some mosques, the khutbah is the English one, right? So if you know there's an Arabic khutbah and an English khutbah, and the English khutbah is just a nasiha, it doesn't fall under khutbah. Did the Prophet did the Prophet Isa alayhi salam or his disciples write down the Injil during his time? I no idea. I have no idea about that. Best thing to ask is if you remember the Islamic Da'wah Foundation, the IDF, Islamic Da'wah Foundation. They have a channel, a YouTube channel, and on there they explain these kind of things. So you'll find something there. Is celebrating the New Year's permissible? Yes, random questions, bro. I think what Rona means is that is it fard for a woman to have kids if she's biologically able to? It is not fard upon anyone to have kids. No one has to have kids. Yeah, no one has to have kids. What are the 4 different imams? I am new to Islam and told I would need to choose one. So what I would suggest is look at my video. So I've got a 3-part series on the history of madhabs, and then you'll understand about how the madhabs actually came about. And you can also watch my evolution of fiqh series as well. In there I've explained a lot of these concepts. Yeah, so this is a history of madhabs. Then that will make a lot of sense to you, inshallah. Islamic reminders. Ahlan wa sahlan, ahlan wa sahlan. Haven't done a COVID test, so I'm not sure. Yeah, do you think you've got the symptoms? Why will most women and I find it hard to tell people that I am not fasting. I have an illness that is aggravated by fasting. How do I get over the shame? Sometimes I feel that people look down on me for not fasting. It's a good question. I know a lot of people who do have certain private illnesses and they feel a bit embarrassed. What you can say is, I would say this. What you can say is you can just tell them that you've got some sort of an illness. You don't have to be specific. Just say you've got an illness which stops you from fasting. Yeah. So make it generic, and I think people, inshallah, should be able to accept that. But you're right. Sometimes people do feel a bit embarrassed. What is your opinion about the lunar debates between the Saudi al-Qura? I personally think just fast whatever your local mosque is fasting. That's what I would say. Whatever in England, if we could all agree upon fast, if all the mosques could come together and fast together, that would be fantastic. Yeah, I would suggest following the local sighting, I would say. But the problem is because I go to a mosque and then that mosque follows a particular, I just follow my mosque. So I think that in the future, mosques should get together and agree upon one thing just to make it easy for everyone. Which one would you recommend for read along with Mukhtasar al-Quduri, al-Lubab, or Jawharat al-Nayr? Al-Lubab is easy. Jawharat al-Nayr is a bit more advanced. So it depends how good you are in your reading. I usually get my students to read both of them when I'm teaching Quduri. Some say Lubab is posted in Ad-Din, so it contains later developments, while some Lubab is very simple, straightforward, one line explanations, usually 1-2 line explanations. Jawhara goes into a bit of advanced. Yeah. Jawhara doesn't really have a status in fatwa. No, it doesn't. Do you respond verbally to the second adhan during the Jum'ah? No, quietly. Basically in your heart. Could you please show me how you do tayammum? How and which parts of the body? Yes. So tayammum is basically you tap your hands, wipe your face, all your face, tap your hands, and then wipe your arms. Yeah, like that. So, then 2 taps, one for the face, one for the hands. That's right, Sheikh Ijaz, from calling Christians and EF Dawah are good at handling all Christian historical topics for Muslims. Yeah, I definitely recommend them because sometimes I watch that as well. And they have like this long 2-3 hour discussions with Christians. Salam Sheikh, which nuskha publisher would you recommend for Quduri and Hidayah, please? I generally use Maktabat al-Bushra. They're quite reliable. The hash is quite good as well. But if you want to get like some of the new ones that have come out, those are okay. Though I haven't seen those myself, but I've heard they're quite good. But Maktabat al-Bushra is reliable. It's very clear as well to read. That's the one that I generally use. Sadia Rawat, at what point is a student teen ready to start Alimiya course? How can we ensure they are not young? So the test I would say is that if they themselves have the ability to be able to understand like basic concepts. So if they have the understanding of basic concepts, like for example, it's a bit difficult to say basic concepts in it. Okay, so I would say if you speak to them, are they someone who you think would be able to have like an intellectual discussion with you about something? So let's say, for example, you discussed the concept of, you asked them, what should Muslims do in the West, for example? Ask them these kind of random questions. If they can come out with like good answers, if they can think, then I would say that person is ready. Usually, the way that we test is basically as long as they're about 16, 17, 18, they're fine. I have seen people who are 12 and 13 who are very, very good, very competent. So this is why testing them on specific questions and surveys is a bit difficult. I think maybe if you can design some sort of a little what do you call it? Like an interview, sort of like a questionnaire, and then you can gauge from that what kind of understanding. So that's possible as well. Maybe you have like 10 questions, 15 questions, and they could just be open-ended questions, just to kind of see how their understanding is, or their keenness to study as well. So it's a bit difficult. So I would generally say just stick to age. As long as they are 16 and over, then teach them. And if they're younger, then it's a bit difficult to kind of really kind of gauge. I don't know. What do you think? So I'm sure you teach people. What do you kind of think the age should be? Oh, by the way, when we say alimiya, we're talking about anything beyond nahw and sarf. Yeah, nahw and sarf can be taught to 11, 12-year-olds, right? So when we're talking about alimiya, I mean like Kuduri, Usul, Fiqh, Hidayah, these kind of books, third year, fourth year books. Those are the kind of books that I'm talking about. So otherwise, Arabic grammar can be taught to 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds easily. Yeah. Since I'm a new Muslim, I do take a longer time to pray, but sometimes when I pray along with fellow brothers, they go a lot faster than I do. What should I do in this situation? Take your time. Yeah. For now, take your time, definitely. So don't worry, inshallah. The idea is quality of your prayer, not the speed of your prayer. Yeah. So if you're a new Muslim, take your time, and then once you get used to it, then you'll get used to the brothers, inshallah. Is Lubab more detailed? No. Lubab is basically like how can I explain it? It's just like an explanation of the text. Like it just rewords the text for you in an easy way. That's usually what it is, with just a few extra points added in. Whereas Jawharatul Nayyira, it kind of goes into some nitty-gritty issues, like some external issues to bring in. Irfan Hamid, ahlan wa sahlan. A brother offer to buy a product off you, but you know it's very likely his income is not halal. Can you sell it to him? Yes. You're allowed to sell it to him. Is the folding of the pants in prayer permissible? Yes. Assalamu alaikum, ahlan wa sahlan, loyal follower. What's the difference between saying Muhammad and Muhammadin when saying the durood during salah? So there is no difference in meaning. Meaning-wise, there's no difference at all. It's just a grammar issue, right? It's just a grammar thing. So Muhammadin means Muhammadun and Muhammadan. So I don't know if you've done my Quranic Arabic 17 lessons, you'd know the answer anyway. But in meaning-wise, it's exactly the same, right? When saying the duroods during salah, what's the right pronunciation? So Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. If you want to stop, you say Muhammad, and if you want to carry on, you say ala Muhammadin. right? So it's like the tajweed rule of waqf applies over here. Nahid, alaikum assalam. Would it be better to increase recitation of Quran or increase in tadabbur translation in Ramadan? I would say both. Have a balance of both. Do recitation and also do tadabbur as well. Definitely. And if you haven't hit the like button, guys, make sure you hit the like button. Is it permissible for a girl to get married without parents' consent? According to majority of scholars, no. Yeah. So I would say, depending on the situation you're talking about, I would say you look at the situation. If it's like, for example, like a situation where there's a chance that the family are becoming very sort of unfair with that, then there might be permissibility for that situation where she can get married without the wali's consent. But otherwise, that should not be the case. She should get permission from the parents. The reason I'm saying this is because a lot of times what happens is, unfortunately, a lot of sisters they get conned by men into marrying them secretly, and then unfortunately, the guy will just dump them after a while, and the girl, she lost her virginity to him or something else, and it's just a sad kind of situation where she's left. So this is why the whole point of the wali is to guard her, to protect her. Student of knowledge asking. Oh yeah, so both tadabbur is good, and qira'ah both definitely have the benefits. Maryam alaikum assalam. For someone who takes lifetime tablets, what is the ruling for her to fast? Whether she does qada or not, it's the same. Will she need to give fidya? Yes. So if it's a lifetime and there's no possibility of her being able to fast in the future, even in the short days of winter, then she can give the fidya. Otherwise, if she can fast in the winter, then she'll have to fast in the winter. What can you tell us about the Nadwatul Ulama Institute? I don't know much about that. All I know is that the education over there is slightly different from like other madaris, where in other madaris you'll have years and you'll have multiple books in 1 year, and Nadwa is more kind of like, I think you kind of go into, first of all, study Arabic, and then after that you go into different kulliyas, different sort of like departments, Hadith department. I'm not too sure 100% about this. Best to ask someone who has studied in Nadwa to give you a better insight. Some scholars said women are not giving birth to great men who can rectify the affairs of the ummah. Are women to be blamed? That's a stupid thing to say. Yeah, whoever said that statement, I think, unless you misunderstood what they've said. But if they mean what you just said, then obviously it's silly. It's a silly statement. Do the angels have emotions? Allah knows best. No idea. Is there an online remote alim class out so far during the day for sisters? I think there is. Yeah, I think that if you contact Sofa's website, contact the admin, and they'll be able to give you much more information. I'm not too sure about what happens on the sister side, so you'll have to contact them. Is being in the same pool with the opposite gender permissible, as long as you're covered up and you're not close to them? For someone who doesn't pray, can you read the salah on behalf of them? No. Okay. Should we memorize parts of Quran if we fear we do not have ability to remember them or them well over time? No, it's fine. Memorize as much as you can. Yeah, as long as you're trying your best to retain it, then it's fine. Even if you forget it, you won't be held responsible, inshallah. Students are 12 to 15. I think they're ready, but the Alimiya course for females is quite passive, parrot fashion taught. What advice would be given? I think for people who are 12 to 15, there needs to be a special course for them, like an introductory course to Alimiya, and it can be designed very easily. Like what you can do is you can have like really important things about fiqh that opens them up to discussion, but it all depends on the pedagogy. So it has to be designed in such a way that the content, like Safar Academy books, something like that, Safar Academy book style, that would be really good. And then the way that it's taught, it has to be taught in a way that it's getting them to engaging in discussion, conversation. So I think those are the things. So there needs to be like a condensed, really condensed form of the subjects that are taught, and give them a bit of hadith, give them a bit of tafsir, give them a bit of like insight into these subjects. That way, what happens is, even if they don't do the Alimiya course later on, at least they are well-informed adults. What we need now more than anything is well-informed adults rather than having just people who are just like you just said, parrot fashioning everything. السلام عليكم محمد رافع أهلا وسهلا my brother كيف حالك أنا بخير كيف أنت. I studied Quduri at the age of 12 and understood everything minus literally one masala. Alhamdulillah. Really depends on each child. Generally girls mature a lot early in thinking than boys. Yeah, that's possible, definitely. So it all depends. I've seen like some students are 12 13, they can understand very advanced topics and others can't. True, I don't think truthful thinking. Yeah, I personally think there needs to be a certain way Kuduri is. When I teach Kuduri to my full-time students, I teach in a certain way. It's like what I do several things. I explain the text. I talk about concepts in the outside world. I make the text relevant to what's happening in the outside world. So if you're talking about transaction, buyu, nikah, talaq, waqf, endowment, rahan, securities, and other things like that. So what I do is I get them to think about a business. I get to think about like what's happening in the real world, and then we break it down. Eventually, for example, if we do buyu, at the end of the buyu section, if I give them any business in the world, they'd be able to break down for me all the fiqh rulings that are happening in that bay. So let's say we take, I don't know, Starbucks, and we say, okay, Starbucks, break down all the fiqh rulings that are happening in there. So they'll be able to break it down. And what I get them to do as well is they do presentations where they have to devise, like I'll give them certain chapters of fiqh and they have to devise an app to like cater for some sort of a problem in the Muslim community from a fiqh point of view. So if it's like, for example, like to do with something to do with inheritance or to do with talaq or to do with, I don't know, maybe like a business deal, foreign exchange, things like that, they have to look at the problems and solve them and then present it. So that's the second thing. The third thing is I get them to also expose to other texts as well. So once they're doing Quduri, I expose them to like about 6 or 7 texts. Lubab, Jawr al-Nayra, Hidayah, Badai Sanai, Radd al-Muhtar. This is in the third year, this is. And so by the time they finish, now they have the skills to actually pick up any fiqh book and just read it and be able to understand a lot of it, like 60% of it or so. So when they study Hidayah, they're not too kind of like worried about understanding the masala. They can understand it. It's just about the extra discussion that we're going to have in Hidayah that they now can focus on. Whereas generally what I find happens is when Quduri is taught, the masala is just basically taught. What's the translation of masala? An example of it, and that's it, and carry on. So now the student doesn't have the ability to confidently read other books. So do I memorize Quran if he fears that he might forget? Yeah, memorize it. What's the legal hukum of i'tikaf in the last 10 days of Ramadan in the mosque for men? It's considered to be recommended. Yeah, so sunnah mu'akkada al-kifaya. They call it sunnah mu'akkada al-kifaya, meaning that as long as like one person is doing it, it's fine. Yeah, as long as one person is doing it, it's fine. Rest of the people is considered to be like recommended. What books besides the books Qiraat al-Rashida, Qasr al-Nabiyyin, and other books of would you recommend? So I have a collection of books that I usually give to my students, and this is I'll just give you the link to it. Yeah, so just these are the books. I'll be reading. He has already done being out on the bike with this glorious weather lately. Not this week. I went last Sunday. I might go tomorrow, inshallah. Tomorrow, the only thing is I've got a talk in the evening. I've got a zakat talk. So I don't know. I might be too exhausted. So I might just do a short one tomorrow. So is the marriage valid if she got married without parents' consent and she came from a practicing family and only got married due to wanting to be with a boy she met online? Technically, the marriage will be valid. Yeah, definitely the marriage will be valid. I'm currently teaching Sanatain, which is that intro to fiqh tafsir. So they've completed 2 years, hence why I think they're ready. Oh, I see. Yeah, so maybe why don't you like devise something which is like for them? What I would suggest is, look, you look at your students. What do you want them to become at the end of it? Do you want them to become polymaths and know lots and lots of subjects, or do you want them to focus on something? I personally would say I would rather have a well-informed adult rather than someone trying to dip into all subjects. So maybe you want someone who can really kind of get into tafsir, Quran, right? Or someone who can really get into something like I don't know, an Arabic poetry or reading books or things like that, story writing, maybe even a bit of fiqh. But tafsir is something, I think, and hadith. Tafsir and hadith are things where you want students to get more engaged and understand what's happening, I would say. I don't know personally. What do you think? Do you think we need like youngsters to know all the subjects, or is just focusing on certain subjects? Can baby see the angels? I have no idea. It doesn't come in the Quran. It doesn't come in Hadith. I think it's just an Asian mom thing. Wa alaikum assalam, Mahmoud Sajjad. Ahlan wa sahlan. It was really nice meeting you in person. Talk was concise and depth. Is there a place we can leave feedback? Well, jazakallah khair. Yeah, so there was a link that was left at the end. I can't remember. I think it's Asufa. If you just send an email to Asufa admin and just leave feedback there, they'll put the feedback up. Yeah, but jazakallah khair. Good seeing you today. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. It's better seeing in real life than over the screen. Yeah, mashallah. Yeah, so this is just Mahmoud is just talking about the course that we had today. It was a fasting course and a zakat course. So we did that in about 4.5 hours, 5 hours. But alhamdulillah, it's really engaging, really nice. And I think a lot of people learned some new things as well, inshallah. Sheikh, you know the BA Islamic Studies in a Sofa for graduates from other madars. I think it's from year 2. Is the course taught daily in the school? It's 3. I think it's 3 days a week. Yes, 3 days a week. Yeah. I don't know exactly how much contact time they have to have. Also, me and my friend Ishaq listen to these sessions on our car journeys to our placement in Northampton. We love your say how it is approached. Can you give him a shout out? MashaAllah, Ishaq. Yeah, Ishaq, if you guys are listening to this on the way back, yeah, make sure you're concentrating on the road. Make sure you don't kind of like swerve here and there and cause some pile up or something. But yeah, nice. Jazakallah khair to hear that you guys are listening to my sessions on your way to work, and I hope you have a good day. And also maybe inshallah in the future, Mahmoud, we can meet up somewhere. Yeah, maybe for some dinner or something, inshallah. Bring Ishaq as well. So do you teach the female students at Sofa final 2 years? Sometimes I will teach Dora Hadith in the full time. Yeah, sometimes I will teach the Dora Hadith. But so last year I taught Dora Hadith Abu Dawood. This year I'm not teaching them. Other teachers are teaching them. Part-time I teach, yeah. Part-time I teach the lady side as well, and the brother side. So last time you recommend some books for me to study after Al-Ajurumiyya, like Mutammima, but I did not find any explanations for them in English. Oh, yeah. English ones, I'm not too sure, you know. What might be a good idea for you in that case is to study something like Arabic Tutor. So there's a book called Arabic Tutor. Type it in Arabic Tutor, and that's a 3-volume English book. That would probably be easier for you. Question: can you buy halal meat from people who are not Muslim if they claim it's halal but refuse to publicly display? Is it best? No, best to avoid. Yeah, you should avoid that unless you can like. Why are they hiding it for? So if you ask them and they can prove to you that it is, because they are. I know, for example, like my brother-in-law, he's a butcher, and he says there's a lot of places that actually buy halal meat from him, but they just don't display it as halal meat. Yeah, they find the halal meat to actually be better than the other meat. But yeah, you should avoid it. Why do some Hanafi books say that pouring oil in the ear canal? Yeah, so this was based upon medieval understanding of medicine. So they understood because there's nothing in the Quran or Hadith to say oil in the ear breaks fast. So they thought that there's like a channel between the ears and between the throat, and every time you put oil in, it goes down. And in modern medicine, we understand that's not the case. So this happens in fiqh. Like there might be like an issue that's not mentioned in Quran and Sunnah, and scholars sort of come to a conclusion based upon the sciences of their time. Which the fasting zakat course was advertised heavily, as I would have went. Yeah, it was advertised on the website, but I don't know if it was advertised regularly. I did mention to you, so I've been mentioning so many times. I've been saying that I'm going to be doing a zakat course end of March. When are you supposed to use miswak? Whenever you want to use it. So you can use it throughout the day. Basically, it's considered recommended to use it when you wake up in the morning, you go for prayer, you do wudu, when your teeth are about to go yellow, bad breath. Right, these are the times. Just like when would you use a toothbrush to clean your teeth? Why do some South Asian Hanafi books say that pouring? Oh, got some deck shell socks after your accommodation. Is it okay to wear them daily after Fajr till Isha? Yeah. You can wear them as often as you like, long as you like. But you obviously have to take them off by the end of the day because you can't wear them more than 24 hours. You'd have to take them off, wash your feet, put them back on. So washing them, I think washing the socks after every about 3 days or so, maybe 4 days, wash them because they might start smelling. And the way to wash them is take them inside out and then you immerse them in water with soap, wash them, and then put them in the washing machine. Ustad, do you or anyone else know a live class I can join during the day to go over Al-Hidayah, inshallah? All of it, I don't know, The thing is, I don't think anyone does in the world. I don't think anyone does like a session of the whole Hidayah in the daytime. Your best bet is probably, I think there's like, if you know Urdu, there's a lot of Urdu ones out there that scholars have gone through a lot of Hidayah. Yeah. There's a scholar called Maulana Zuhair in Pakistan. And he's got a YouTube channel. And in there, his lessons are uploaded. It's in Urdu. It's quite clear to follow. Should we buy food from an Islamic cafe but prepared by a non-Muslim worker? As long as it's halal, yes, you can. What date will you be back from Jerusalem, inshallah? Hopefully on the 3rd, I think. I think it's the 3rd. Yeah, after Eid, basically. Sarah, wa alaikum assalam. Is it not permissible to use bit onions? I don't know what is a bit onion. I don't know what bit onions are. Wasn't on here for a while. I follow you on Facebook though. Okay, yeah. So I'm not too active on my Facebook. That's the thing. I'm more active on my Twitter. Assalamu alaikum. Is it not permissible to use Bitmoji? It's a cartoon of yourself. I don't see anything wrong with using it as long as it's appropriately used. It's not showing anything vulgar. Are you allowed to brush your teeth with a normal toothbrush and then use miswak afterwards? Oh, pointless. A toothbrush would be the same as using a miswak, meaning in gaining the virtue of cleaning your teeth. Yeah, so you can use toothbrush here. Not your real cartoon though. Yeah, so it's just basically take your image and they just cartoonize it. Is it okay to use toothpaste in Ramadan as long as you make sure you don't swallow? That's right. If food is presented and it's time for salah in the mosque soon, should you eat missing jamaat or should you pray in the mosque first and return? So if the food is gonna go off, if this food is gonna go cold and it's gonna put the family or the people who made it into a lot of difficulty because they spent a lot of time making it, I would say eat the food, and then if you can make it for the prayer, pray. Otherwise, pray at home. But you shouldn't make it a habit. Right? You shouldn't make it a habit that the food is always presented just before salat. But if it's like sometimes you go to someone's house and they present food and it's salat, then yeah, the Prophet ﷺ, he said that when the night food is like when supper is presented and it's salat time, eat your food first, then go for salat. What do you think about McDonald's fillet fish if fried in the same oil as everything else? No, don't eat it. I don't eat it. Yeah, do not eat it. I've asked some people and they've said that they use the same oil and cross contamination, etc. What kind of pictures can be drawn of human beings? If it's for educational purposes, there's permissibility for it. So, for example, if you're a doctor and you need to draw the human body, or some things like that, then for educational purposes, there's permissibility. But just for a hobby, then it should be avoided. According to many scholars, there are some scholars who do permit drawing of images, and they say the prohibition is to do with 3D images, like statues. Yeah. Allahu Akbar. Questions all done. Okay. Curious cat. If a financially comfortable adult Muslim has a sibling that has no shelter and no source of income, would it be Islamic obligation upon the financially comfortable individual to provide? It would not be a financial. No, it would not be obligation, but it would be morally the right thing to do. If you've got like a family member who is in need, you might not, the courts might not, when you say obligation, the courts might not force you to give, but morally as a Muslim, you wouldn't leave your family member to kind of starve or to live in a bad condition. What do you think about, okay, so can you pray Asr with 5 minutes left until Maghrib, even if you enter the sunset time? Would you Asr? Yes, according to Hanafis, this would be possible, but you should not make this a habit. Like a one-off thing happens, then that's fine, right? Where you just pray just before and it goes into. Yeah, so that's that basically. All right, so all questions have been answered. Excellent. Was Khadija radiallahu anha still alive during the event of Isra Mi'raj? The story doesn't mention about her being alive or not. So this is why we can't tell. So the most strongest position about the Isra and Mi'raj that I've read is that it occurred 3 years before migration. If that's the case, 3 years before migration, then it's very likely that she was alive. Yeah, there's a very good chance that she was alive because it all depends exactly when she passed away. But there's no mention of her in the story of the Mi'raj, which kind of indicates that it might have been after her passing away. So it's possible that she was alive, but it doesn't really kind of make much of a difference as well. I've been to some masjids where after Maghrib Azan they pray 2 rakats before Maghrib Salah. What are these? This is according to the Shafi'is and Hanbalis. Yeah, so they allow the praying of Nafal. So the Prophet ﷺ allowed people to pray Nafal, but he didn't pray himself. And the Hanafis say because the Prophet ﷺ didn't pray himself, this shows that it shouldn't be prayed if it's going to delay the Maghrib unnecessarily. There are some Muslim countries that celebrate the New Year's. Is it okay, Islam? Yes, it should be okay. Salam, is Fajr at 15 degrees or 18? I follow the 15 degrees one. Yeah, 15 degrees. So the thing is, the early Hanafis did not discuss this masala of the 15 and 18 degrees issue. So basically, for those who don't know, so when the sun is rising, what happens is on the horizon, a white glow appears on the horizon, right? So when it's Fajr time, at what point of the sun's like ascent do we say Fajr starts? Is it when it's 18 degrees below the horizon, or is it 15 degrees below the horizon? So there's like this is a later scholars have come out with this. So there's nothing categorical from the early Hanafis to say 18 degrees is better or 15 degrees. This is a later Hanafi discussion that's been raised. So I follow the 15-degree one because it's just, in the summer, I follow the 15. Normally 18-degree one, it just makes it much more easier because of the disappearing of the twilight. Is it true that every word uttered by human is written down by angels? It's recorded, yes. If cough medicine has 96% ethanol, can you use it? There are other options, but they're rare to find without alcohol and not as effective. If it's not as effective and if it's not easily available, then yes, they can use it. Secondly, as Muslims, can you even sell that? Yes, you'll be allowed to sell it because it's for a medicinal purpose, and then it's obviously up to the person of how they use it. If a person is not praying in the Qibla direction, is there salat to pray? If they have no excuse, then no. Think there was a narration I read somewhere about the people who carry alcohol, sell alcohol, does not apply to the medicine products. Yeah, so that's to do with those who are basically sort of like for no reason giving alcohol to people. Yeah. Is it okay to do a ruqya course for spiritual purposes only and not to be a raqi? Yes, I wouldn't see a problem in that. What is the concept of wahdat al-wujud? So the concept of wahdat al-wujud, the correct concept of wahdat al-wujud basically means that all existence comes from Allah. Like Allah is the one that actually gave existence to everything. That's the correct, and the other opinions out there are sort of like deviated opinions. So if you mean by wahda al-wujud that the true existence is only for Allah, wahda means like it's the oneness. Our existence is temporary. Like we don't, we just like are like a flicker in history. Allah's existence is the true existence, and everything's existence, it's due to Allah's existence. Yeah, that's what wahdatul wujud means. It doesn't mean that pantheism, that everything is. In fact, what I'll tell you is there's actually a good course. If any of you guys are interested in ilmul kalam or the kind of like discussions like this, I would definitely recommend to you guys a course by Sheikh Hamza Karamali. Yeah, Hamza Karamali. Just find it for you guys. This is like those of you guys who are interested in, and it's the he goes to the book called Aqidah as-Sanusiyah. Yeah, so the Aqidah of the Sanusiyah, he goes to this. So let's just see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. So this is the series, and Irfan, I definitely recommend watching this. It really kind of gives you Aqidah Sanusiyah by Sheikh Hamza Karamali. I definitely recommend that for those who are into ilm al-kalam and these kind of discussions. In Ramadan, why do you do 35 rakats? In Ramadan, why do you do 35 rakats? Why do you do 35 rakats? I don't understand. No, don't understand your question, brother. Do the angels also record what passed through your mind and heart? No, they can't know that. Only Allah knows that. What is Islamic perspective on genders and alteration? Not permitted. Are makruh acts sinful? If it's makruh tahrimi, yes, sinful. When you are a musafir and you are praying dhuhr and asr in a mosque, you find, do you need to give iqama and for both salahs, i.e. iqama for zuhr? Then, so if you're with a congregation, then yes, iqama for each salat. I have a friend who wants to learn how to speak Arabic. I will teach him the rules and how to present this. Is there any advice you can give me? I mean, have you studied Arabic before? If you have studied Arabic, are you an Arab or are you a non-Arab? If you're an Arab, you might find it difficult to teach a non-Arab Arabic, because non-Arabs, they don't even know the concept of the Arabic language. So when they're learning the rules of Arabic, they find it very difficult to be able to understand. So I would suggest, before teaching them Arabic rules, get them exposed to Arabic sentences, reading kids books, definitely. Is it starting? Yeah, Karamali. A lot of people leave Taraweeh after 8 rakats, almost a third of people. Is this okay? People, I mean, look, ask yourself this question. Should you do more ibadah in Ramadan or not? Simple question. And obviously, you would always want to perform more. How sinful is it for an ignorant person to blame Allah for the calamity? If it's out of ignorance, then inshallah Allah will forgive them. Yeah. Is cosmetics permissible? It depends what you mean. How does one become as educated as you? Where would I go to? I studied 9 years in Pakistan, so and then I've got, like, after that I've been teaching for I don't know how many years, 13 years, odd years. So altogether about 22 years I've been studying and teaching as well. What you do is probably going to have to go to an Islamic university and just start from scratch. Would shisha still be makruh tahrimi even if the nicotine levels? So shisha and these kind of things, if they harm your body, ask your doctor, seriously, go to your doctor, say to them, look, if I smoke shisha, is it something which will harm my body? If the doctor says yes, 100% harm body and the high risk of cancer, etc., then do not do it. You're not allowed to do it. The impermissibility of smoking and all these things is not based upon nicotine. It's actually based upon the harms it's going to give your body. Fun fact, if you take a 15-line page of Quran and memorized 5 lines per day, you would be a hafiz in 5 years. Wow. 5 lines times 3 days is 1 page done. Average 600 pages. Quran would take 1,800 days. Wow. Fantastic. I like that one. What are the different ibadah you can do in Ramadan? Quran reading, dhikr of Allah, listening to a talk, attending a dars, teaching, praying nafal, giving charity, or helping the people in need, helping your neighbors, listening to your parents, serving your parents. These are all ibadahs. I think a lot of people don't see serving parents, if your parents are alive, as being something which is important. This is very, very powerful. Serving your parents. There is nothing compared to serving your parents out there at all. After belief in Allah, there is nothing that comes close to serving your parents. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize this. Parents are alive, but they would rather do like big missions around the world. So imagine that a guy once wanted to come to meet the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ said, "Are your parents alive?" And he said, "Yeah, you gotta stay, do their khidmah, serve them." That's a much more greater act. Okay, I'm an Arab, so we start with the learning stories, for example. What do the words mean? That's excellent then. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Start with that, definitely. Start with that, inshallah. And that should be, inshallah, a really good way to go ahead. Could you shed some light on where the different approaches of Taraweeh come from, e.g., slower pace, 10 rakats, or faster pace? I have no idea what you're talking about. I honestly do not know where this is what you're talking about. Yeah, slower pace or 10 pace. It's nothing from like fiqh or anything. This is just, I think it's praying 20 rakats or 10 rakats. I think it's just people's convenience they do it for. I don't think there's some like fiqhy sort of like issue there. I think in the Maliki madhab, one opinion is 10 rakats. But besides that, I haven't heard of any other scholars holding 10 rakat position. Ya Allah. Okay, so anyway, questions are over, guys. MashaAllah. That was a very interesting session we had. And hopefully, inshallah, this will not be the last session. So next week we've got Ramadan starting. So the timings of Ramadan will change. Right. So most likely the live streams are going to be in the late afternoon, hopefully, inshallah. So is it better to serve your parents than go to another country to learn deen? I think I'm going abroad to study. If your parents need your service, if your parents then know you should not go abroad, serve your parents. If your parents are okay, then going and studying knowledge would be something that would be good. Yeah. So if your parents do not need to be served, then you can. But technically, serving your parents will always be better than you studying knowledge. Remember that. There would never ever come a time where serving your parents will be second to something unless it's at the time of an obligation. So if salat time comes, praying salat on time is more important than serving your parents. And if fasting time comes, fasting is more important than serving your parents. So obligation time, the obligation is more important. But after the obligation time, serving your parents is always the when you doing a meet and greet row, we can bring a dish. Yeah, good. Maybe you're gonna have to do it maybe sometime after Ramadan. Yeah, in the summer. But good idea, definitely. Barakallah fiki, Ustad. How long do you think it would take one to get to level of comfortably reading Arabic books if one practices daily? I think 4 months. If you practice daily, 15 minutes every day, understanding the text, inshallah, 4 months, you'll have a very good understanding of reading text. And like, if there's like 10 levels of Arabic, you'd easily, I would say, reach level 4 or 5. Definitely. Jazakallah khair. You're welcome, Darshan. Thank you for this session. It was really helpful for me. You're welcome, brother. You are welcome. Yeah, so that's that, guys. All right. So any other thing before I'm going to finish in a bit? Any other interesting thing that you guys wanna mention, share? This is one of the new teas I've got today. Remember the tea that I told you guys I got from Botswana? This is, I don't know how you pronounce this. Is this Rooibos honeybush? Rooibos honeybush. Actually, what is Rooibos? I've seen this word on the box. Rooibos. Rooibos tea. Okay, Rooibos tea. It's got some health benefits. Excellent. So I love health benefits. Let's see what kind of health benefits this tea has. Okay, so it says flavor caffeine-free tea, alternative black tea. Rooibos tea is Tea also as red tea or red bush. Oh, it's red bush tea. Ah, okay. Western coast of South Africa, herbal tea, and is not related to green tea or black tea. Traditional rooibos created by fermenting the leaves. Okay. Low in tannins and free from caffeine. All right. Packed with antioxidants. Excellent. May boost heart health. All right. I need that. May reduce cancer. Okay. May benefit people with type 2 diabetes. Unverified benefits: bone health, improved digestion, and others. Potential side effects. Ugh, don't like reading this. One case found that drinking large amounts of rooibos tea was linked to an increase in liver enzymes. Ugh, sounds bad. Whoa, certain compounds in the tea can stimulate the production of female sex hormones, estrogen. Okay, I gotta calm down then, not drink too much. Yeah, let's see if it's large amounts. Okay, so that's rooibos tea, guys. And what's honey bush? Let me just find out what honey bush tea is. Honey bush tea. Honey bush tea, health benefits. Honey bush tea, also known as Huningbossberg tea. Tea is a herbal infused South African. Okay. Honey bush potential benefits: rich in antioxidants. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Enough benefits for me. You tried matcha tea? Yes, I've tried matcha tea. So if you guys were watching last year, I actually showed you guys images of the matcha tea that I made. It tastes quite bitter. If you don't like tea, if you don't like bitter tea, you're not gonna like it. It tastes a bit like strange. So you got to acquire a taste for it. Inshallah, I hope to do itikaf this year for the first time. MashaAllah, excellent. It's going to be a very good experience. Trust me, you're gonna feel really good after you've done it. May Allah give you tawfiq, blessing. Just let you know, I do remember my teachers, including you, in my du'as. Jazakallah khair, Zed. May Allah bless you and give you abundance of khair and barakah and goodness in this dunya and akhirah. So, do you have any advice for us to start off Ramadan strongly? You know what I would say is focus on one or two things that you want to change in yourself in Ramadan. I would say that's the one. That's what I'm going to do as well. So maybe there's like a few things in your life that you know are bad for you that you're doing, whether it's a certain type of sin that you're involved in, whether it's involved like certain things that are bad for your diet, or maybe relationships with other people that you're meant to have strong and it's weak, or it could be like your activism in the community that you want to focus more on, or maybe even reading Quran more, or going to the masjid more, etc. I would say definitely take one or 2 points and focus on them more in Ramadan than anything else. That's the first thing. Second thing is like do regular istighfar. Ask Allah forgiveness for anything that you've done in your life. Yeah, and be very, very particular about istighfar. Because if you do istighfar has so many benefits that we just like ignore, goes through one ear out the other ear. But sincere istighfar can have like a drastic impact on your life. Like you can have really big life-changing situations. But you have to do proper sincere istighfar to Allah. Really, ask Allah forgiveness. That's the second thing. And the third thing I would say is try not to waste your time. Try not to do things that are time-wasting things. Like sometimes you might have like a game on your phone that's just time-wasting. Just eats up half an hour of your time. And utilize that time for something else, like maybe reading, get into the habit of reading more, get into the habit of I don't know, doing something that will become productive for you. Maybe you're like a side income as well that you can do. Something good. Barakallah feek, Jundullah, ahla wa sahlan wa feek aidan. I have tried to read Johra but find that I don't know the meaning of a lot of words. What would you advise me to do to make it easier? You know what you can read? Let me show you a good book. This is killing two birds with one stone, yeah? So this book is a very good book to read. It's called Al-Fiqh Al-Hanafi wa Adillatuhu, by As'ad Sagharji. He was a Syrian. And it's 3 volumes. And when I was studying Quduri, I would read this as well. It's really, really good. It's like very nicely written. It's got like hadith. This is actually my my exam number when I was in madrasa. So when I was in madrasa, basically they give you exam number. You do not write your name on the paper. You write an exam number. This was in Thanawiyya al-Khasa. Yeah, Thanawiyya al-Khasa. Year 2 exam. Yeah. So basically I would sit the exam, write the number down. You don't write your name in the exam. It's just so that people, can't cheat or anything. And this book is really good. I would definitely recommend this book. It's 3 volumes, and the Arabic is quite easy. I can give you I can show you, for instance. Yeah, look, this is like the Arabic. Yeah, so I don't know if it's clear on the screen or not. Yeah, but it's very, very easy to read. And he has also written a lot of other books as well. So Asad Sagharji, I would definitely recommend his books for beginners. They're very easily written, nice language. 100% I'd recommend that. Mufti Sahab, you made dua for my tournament success last week, and right now my team is second in the league. Pray that my team win the tournament, inshallah. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Alhamdulillah. Excellent news, excellent news. May Allah bless you guys and make your success a blessing for other people as well. Is there an English translation? No, I don't think there is. Yeah, I don't think there's an English translation for it. But if you want like an English book of fiqh, they probably what's the book? Felicity to Success. Felicity to Success. Maraqi al-Falah. That's a good one. So you can get an English Felicity to Success. Ascent to Felicity is called Ascent to Felicity. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, this is Ascent to Felicity. I'll actually just show you this. I have a PDF of it. I'll just give you the PDF. Yeah, so Ascent to Felicity. And this is a good book. Ascent to Felicity. So what's your thoughts in IDA Leicester? Is esteemed institution. I've heard I don't know. I haven't really been there. I've had people who have studied there and given mixed thoughts about it. Yeah, some have said it's too strict. Someone said it's good. So I don't really like judging places unless I've had first-hand experience there. Best to ask someone who's actually studied there. Ibn Adam alaykum assalam, ahla wa sahlan. Ascent to Felicity. Jazakallah khair, Fahim. Hidayah has an English translation. I think parts of it have been translated. I don't think the whole thing has. Any du'as for anxiety and grief and difficulties, please? Du'as for anxiety, I would say reading Surah Yasin helps a lot. Yeah. Reading Surah Yasin helps a lot. Taking cold showers. Yeah. So taking cold showers. I don't know if any of you guys have been taking cold showers recently, but taking cold showers really, really, really helps you. So definitely recommend taking cold showers. 100%. Yeah, without doubt, no shak. But yeah, Ibn Adam, I hope your anxiety gets better and the grief and the difficulties you're going through are eased. May Allah make it easy for you. And anyone else who's going through difficulties, well, people go through problems in life. But Alhamdulillah, Allah has told us in the Quran that after every difficulty, there's always ease. There's always 100% ease after every difficulty. We just have to just bear it for a little while. All right, guys. Anything else? No. Let's see. Let's check your account. Let's see if there's any other question that's been left here. Okay. Anyway, guys, take care, inshallah. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. And inshallah, I'm going to be putting up the Quran as well, the Quran video. Yeah, the Quran series video, Surah Baqarah. Hopefully, inshallah. And that's it, guys. So take care. And I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.